This side of the
What's
mic.
your favorite position? I don't like it, but I'll do it for you.
What's your favorite dish? I'm not gonna cook it,
But
but
I'll
I'll
order
order
it
it from
from
Zanzibar.
Hey, are you going to sing a lot on this one?
No, I will be doing
Why?
notes. Why would I sing? I don't know
Because
any
it's all
of this.
about musical theater.
Yeah, but not songs I care about.
Oh, but
or no.
You got to sing. I want to hear 16 to 32 bars 3 times. I want to hear 3 16-bar cuts.
Oh my gosh. You won't hear that.
Yeah, I will.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
You're not gonna hear it.
I'm going to hear it. All right, Rach, final score. Camp, go.
Oh, already?
Yeah, let's flip the format.
Flip the format.
Just kidding. Don't do that. All right, everybody. Welcome into episode 3. I'm gently moving these cords out of the way.
Yeah, we've got a little precarious situation with the mic here. She's a little topsy-turvy,
Yeah, she
so if
almost
we
tipped
lose
on
you,
us.
just, hang in there. We'll get it fixed.
Yep. But welcome to week 3 with a fancy title that we did this week. We did a saucy little number. Did you have continued business that you wanted to hit from something from past episodes?
Let me think.
I know one of mine.
You have something?
I have continued business from
Oh.
Top Gun episode.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Pilot name, go.
Oh, shoot. You go.
Fuzzy Navel, your turn. I just came up with that right now on the spot. Your turn.
Magpie.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, so those are our pilot names.
Oh, cool. Great.
Anything
great
else
biz.
from Sisterhood?
I guess I gotta correct myself. I didn't get a chance to do that. I kept referring to the screenwriter as Delilah Efron. Her name is Delia. Delia. It's Delia. I don't know how to pronounce it. I didn't do the homework. Delia?
I think so.
Delia?
I knew there was a girl. Actually, it might be Delia, but there was a girl whose name was Delia, and it was spelled like that.
Yeah.
Who I taught.
Yeah.
So I feel good about that.
I goofed it a couple times. I was just gonna
You
leave
called her
it.
Delilah. That's what you called her?
I did. But I thought you guys deserved an honest podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that to you.
We own our mistakes.
Always.
Including this week's film. Because what did we watch this week, Rach?
Oh, we watched the musical theater cult classic Camp.
If you've ever felt different,
Why would you wear a dress to your prom, dude? I don't get that. Of course you don't get that.
if you've ever felt alone,
I thought you had to go to Weight Watchers camp this summer.
We compromised and had our jaw wired shut.
You can hardly tell.
if you've ever felt like you don't belong,
Sports counselor.
We have a sports counselor?
Think fast.
there's a place you can go.
A guy like you could have a really lucky summer in a place like this, huh?
I'm starting to get that idea.
I told Rach she has to sing 16 to 32 bars 3 times throughout this podcast. So we'll see what she comes up with. Do you think you could do
I'm not doing
if
that.
I told you on the spot, I'm Lin-Manuel, and I say like, oh, you do musical theater? Let me hear 16 bars. I'd love to work with you. What would you do? What do you pull out right now? What's your go-to?
Well, I just saw the Elvis Presley movie.
Yeah, so
last
what
week,
came into your
so
head?
it's probably That's All Right, Mama,
Oh, okay.
or Heartbreak Hotel. Well, since my baby left me, that's all you get.
Well, that's not 16 bars.
That's all you
that
get.
was a bar.
Lin-Manuel, figure it out.
Oh, I think he's seen enough. We've seen enough.
That's fair.
Actually, okay, here's a story for you. I knew somebody who auditioned for Book of Mormon in the Twin Cities. They get flown out all the way to New York. They actually have to pay for their own plane ticket and their room and board while they're there. So, like, Book of Mormon, shame on you.
That's awful.
They fly all the way out there after, like, having a really good audition in the Twin Cities. They're feeling super good. They get about a measure in on singing one of the songs, and the producers go, that's all we need to see. He can go.
Oh, God.
They just flew all the way to New York, had to put themselves up in a hotel for like a few days to get ready for this audition. They think it's their big Broadway break, and then they get dismissed like a measure in.
God, I love hate this business.
Oh
my
my
God,
gosh, it's amazing.
It is, and atrocious, and just the best and the worst.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I think it's the worst.
So here's the exciting thing about today's pod. We get to have theater talk.
Yeah.
So we are both theater kids.
Mhm.
And I mean, I think we both grew up a little bit outside of that world. We didn't grow up theater kids. Like, I definitely was a sports kid for the majority of my life. But it's kind of fun because we get to investigate this part of ourselves that we've really kind of dedicated ourselves to. And
Well, some of us more than others.
and so this is really a week. Yeah, camp is camp. Camp is camp. The movie is what it is. But we get to talk about theater this week, and so that's
Okay.
kind of fun.
Whew, oh boy, I'm a little nervous with you saying that because I feel like
Yeah, what are you nervous about?
okay, I did at one point consider myself a
camper.
theater kid. Yeah,
Oh.
well, yeah.
Would
we
you
can
say
get into
you're
that.
bigger into theater or bigger into camp?
I love camp now. I love the woods. I love camping.
Yeah.
I love cabining.
Oh, cabining is borderline not camping.
I know. I love it, though.
Camping is really like getting a campsite in a national park. You've got a fire pit that's attached to your name, and you've got a tent that you put up, and you hopefully got all the sticks out from underneath you. And you start off the night being really hot, and then you wake up at 3 a.m. and you're shivering, and you're like, how did it get so cold? And then you poop all over your campsite because you get diarrhea in the middle of the night. And then we've gradually told more and more of that story over the course of the seasons. Yeah, it's like been alluded to several times. But you wake up in the middle of the night, you poop all over the campsite. You wake up the next morning, your buddy accidentally picks it up, puts his hand in it, thinking it's his cell phone. It's like, that's what camping is. So I'm going to repeat the question. Do you like theater or do you like camping more?
I think theater still wins. It still
Okay.
wins, but I am a little nervous that I'm gonna offend or ostracise a good chunk of our listeners who are probably our friends and who are also theater lovers or
Okay.
theater folks.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe about this movie.
Let's just
but
say
even
this.
the
Let's
biz.
just say this right off the bat.
Okay.
We love theater.
Mm-hmm.
We love people of difference. And if we hurt your feelings, it has nothing to do with either one of those things. That we're just talking about a cinematic adventure that we just went on.
Sure.
And that's it. And there's no judgment that like goes forward to any other realm of the world. We're just talking about the cinematic experience, the crazy wild thrill ride that we just went on. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I can do that. I will be vulnerable, but I'm going to
Hey.
apologize in advance.
Theater's all about being vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm going to speak in what I like to call draft.
Yeah.
We call this is a theater thing. We're speaking in rough draft right
We're
now.
speaking in rough
So if I
draft.
offend you, I mean, you can let me know. I probably won't do anything about it, but
Yeah. I will try to apologize. Rach, what is the movie Camp about?
camp. Okay, 2003
Uh-huh.
musical theater camp.
Oh, you got that it was 2003?
It
Did
said
they say
so
that?
on the title.
Oh,
The
okay.
title screen had it.
Oh, gotcha.
I was
Okay.
so curious.
Cool.
I had never heard of this movie
Yeah.
ever. I had never seen a trailer for it. I didn't know who was in it. The picture of it on the front, the title screen, I was like, "What is this?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I recognized baby Anna Kendrick in the beginning screen
Yep.
of it, but
She's so cute.
oh my gosh, she's got to be like what, 12?
We'll get into it.
Oh,
Yep.
maybe
I think
she's
she's
a-
13, but yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, she's
Oh my
13 or
gosh.
14. Yeah. Pretty
Incredible.
sure.
Incredible. I do have a section of things that I loved about it, so I will.
Yeah,
I will say
actually
that.
do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, essentially it's a musical theater camp, and we have a lot of musical theater. I would call them stereotypes, but honestly, to be fair,
I don't think they are stereotypes.
I think it's kind of real in
That's
some
one thing I
ways.
will say about this movie is
Yeah.
I don't think this movie made generic stereotypes that were like, that's not a person.
Mm-hmm.
I actually recognized every single person in this movie.
It's a little autobiographical, and it's a little hard to watch at times.
Yep.
Because of that.
I think
Mhm.
that honestly makes me less enjoying the movie because
Mm-hmm.
they're so real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that person.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I mean, it just follows around a couple of random characters. It seems to center around our straight white male which is a little unfortunate. But
Well, you
it is
say
the
that, but it
time.
actually doesn't. I think it actually circles around two people.
Yeah.
One being straight white male,
That's true.
and the other one being his roommate.
I know.
Who is not straight white
And I
male.
really wanted to dive more into the roommate story. So the roommate story is a young, well, I was gonna say young man, but I think he's
He's probably
trans. He's probably the first.
at this time. He would have been a young man who likes drag, who's gay.
Mm-hmm.
But now we would call him something completely different.
Yeah, he
we
might
would say
be
he's non-binary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is really kind of cool to think about that as a 2003 movie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if this was one of the first times that somebody openly gay was in that level of role.
That's one thing that
So-
the guy who created it talked about. He's like, think about the world we're in now, and that we showed a character who existed in our current world then, which was so taboo.
Yeah.
Like, we never talked about
Yeah.
that. There were drag queens, but, like, we never talked about people in, like, a non-binary sense back then.
That's
So that's
true.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Forward
So
thinking.
kind of around the two of their stories, and then it just, as it would, it ends in a benefit concert at the end, and there's a couple of surprises along the way. Couple of big surprises along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great job summing it up.
That's all I can say.
I saw this movie either when I was a freshman or a sophomore in college in undergrad.
Okay.
So it probably would have been like maybe 06, 07-ish. And when I saw it, everybody who was in the room were all like, how good is that? Isn't this an awesome movie? And the whole time I just like kept quiet. For one thing, I wasn't a very good theater kid. Like I said, I grew up a sports kid. So I didn't know who some of these big people, they talk about all these plays. They talk about Stephen Sondheim. They talk about Beckett. They talk about all these people that I'm like, I don't know who those people are at this point in my career. I'm still pretty fresh and new. And so I just did not think anything of the movie. But everybody else in the room was like falling over themselves in love with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I can imagine it, and I'm glad I wasn't there with them at the time. Also being a kid who had 1 foot in theater and 1 foot out.
Yeah.
I still consider myself, my person, as someone who has 1 foot in and 1 foot out of theater.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to argue with you to audition for things and like to take stage combat classes with me. So that makes sense. This movie, just so you all are aware, if you wanted to check it out and you're like, I've never heard of camp either, and I'm a theater kid, I would love to see this. It's free on the platform Plex, right? Plex, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But here's the problem.
Yeah.
I almost would say just pay $4 and watch it on Amazon because the commercials, here's how they start. They start with a minute, and then they become a minute and a half, 2 minutes. They get all the way up to almost 4 minutes, right? 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Just on the cusp.
Just under 4, and then it starts to go down again. It is brutal, especially at the beginning. I swear they're like, we're going to hit 5 in the first 20 minutes. It is absolutely brutal. So you can watch it for free, but I would say just cough up the $4 and watch it and decrease a half hour of viewing time and don't watch a bunch of stupid commercials. But the commercials actually were enjoyable, you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Cough up the money. Don't watch the commercials. But if you do, the commercials are ones that are not on the typical channels that I watch.
Yeah.
So that was a little exciting.
We saw a movie preview that had to be from like 2006 that had Saoirse Ronan and Tom Holland in it, and they're
Yeah.
very young.
Yeah, he
We
had
were
to
like,
be
"What?
like 12 in it.
What? No, even younger.
Think
He looked
so?
like 10. Saoirse Ronan looked 12.
That's true.
It was wild.
Yeah,
So,
like, what's that? I want to see that.
hey, you might find some surprises. Who knows? This movie is written and directed by a guy. His name is Todd Graff, and he went to a theater camp and was a counselor at said camp in upstate New York. He wrote this film based on his experiences at actual theater camp.
As a counselor.
Yep, as a counselor and as a student. He was a
Oh.
student first, then graduated into counselor status. And here's some other things that he did. I want you to tell me what's the most impressive. He sang on Sesame Street. He was on the Electric Company TV show on PBS. I actually never watched that, but I can like picture the opening title track. He was in the movie Abyss with Ed Harris. It's like a scary movie, but it's not really that scary. It's like aliens in the ocean, and they're like weird little tunnel water aliens. Oh, it's kind of interesting.
Oh.
He helped write the TV show The Nanny.
Oh, okay.
He did write the movie Beautician and the Beast with Fran Drescher again. He directed Joyful Noise with Queen Latifah and Dolly Parton in the 2010s.
Yeah.
And then he also directed on Broadway, shortly after this, I actually think this movie helped him land this gig, the musical by Jason Robert Brown, 13.
Oh, okay.
What are you most impressed by?
I mean, I would love to work with Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
I don't
Queen
know.
Latifah
I don't
and
know
Joyful
how I feel
Noise.
about the movie, but
Joyful Noise.
but Dolly is amazing, as they say. I think the Broadway directing.
Doing 13?
Yeah, I think
13. Everybody better be
13.
13.
Okay, this is what kind of theater kids we are.
Yeah,
we
we
don't
don't know any
even
of the
know all
words.
the words to
And
this.
don't truly know the rhythm and the melody.
It's true.
So while he was working at the summer camp, it was called Stage Door Manor. Graff was a counselor to an 11-year-old star, Marvel star. Do you have any guesses?
An 11-year-old Marvel star on Broadway?
No, not on Broadway. This is while this person was at the camp.
Oh.
This person went to this theater camp that
Theater
this
camp.
movie's based off of.
Okay. Theater
This
camp kid.
famous
Theater
Marvel
camp
actor,
Marvel
11 years old,
actor.
and Graff, the writer, is his counselor.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Big star.
Big,
Big,
star. I'm
huge.
just trying to think age-wise, someone on the younger side, because it can't be like a Robert Downey Jr. because they're probably the same age. Is it Robert Downey Jr.?
You nailed it. Robert Downey Jr. Even though you didn't nail it, you completely got it wrong. Because you said
I said
it's
it
not.
could never be.
You literally
except-
said like that's the last person you'd guess,
except when it is.
and that's who it is.
Oh.
It's Robert Downey Jr.
The years don't make any sense to me. What year did you say?
This movie came out in 03,
Yeah,
and he probably was in his like 50s then.
I guess.
And Robert Downey Jr. was probably like in his, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s then. And so there's probably like a 15-year age gap. So he's a counselor and 11-year-old Robert Downey Jr. It actually
Okay.
does work out, I think,
I mean, it
age-wise.
has to work out because that's the fact. The fact of the matter is that's the fact.
So he took this whole idea, the Stage Door Manor camp, he took this idea to Paramount and he was like, hey, what do you think? I wrote this script based on my experiences. I would love for you guys to fund it and put this on. And Paramount said, oh, yeah, this is a really good script. We love it. You need to turn all the gay kids into Trekkies.
Oh, boo.
He's like, Star Trek's a huge deal and Trekkies are outsiders. So if you made them all Trekkies, it will really work. Trust me.
Oh.
And we just get rid of all the gay stuff.
Trekkies aren't theater kids. I mean, there's a couple, of course, but
They're just outsiders, you know what I mean?
it's like a Venn diagram a little bit. You've got your Trekkies and you've got your theater kids, and there's a bit of an overlap, but not as much as one would think. I get it. He's going for an outsider
I
thing.
agree with
but
you.
that
I don't think
just-
there's a huge overlap
yeah.
there.
Oh, boo, boo. Say gay. Say gay, Florida.
So to fund the movie, because he was losing out on other distribution companies like that, similar reasons, and he sold his house and he lived off that money, and he found a couple small investors and he used the rest of the profits for his house in order to fund the movie. It was really hard for him to get all the music for this movie because he has actually like famous songs in it too. And what really helped is a certain person got on board and said, my entire catalog is yours. And after they did this, a bunch of all the other songs opened up, and he only paid $100,000 total for all the music, and that would have been at least $8 million at any big studio. What person opened up the cabinet door for him?
Oh my gosh. My mouth dropped.
Rach was seriously shocked.
just shook. Okay, picture this. We're like the last 20 minutes of the film. It's the benefit night. We've been working on all this new music that this drunk director was trying to throw away, but we found it because we're cool like that. And we're going to put on this benefit with all of his show tunes. And who pulls up in a Buick?
Yep.
None other than Stephen Sondheim.
The godfather of musical theater. I don't know if godfather is true because you probably say Hammerstein and Oscar and Rogers, but
We digress.
no, I think the best musical theater creator of all time.
My mouth was agape.
So if people don't know who Stephen Sondheim is, Rach, what shows has he done?
I mean, my favorite Sondheim
Yep.
is Company.
Yeah, mine
but
too.
that's not one that anyone else knows.
But what are some other ones? Sweeney,
Sweeney is
Yep.
one.
Into the Woods.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yep.
I'm so nervous. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh! Whenever you put Rach on the spot, she seriously freezes up. It's like you can see in her eyes It's like she can no longer think of anything. Sunday in the Park with George. It's like nothing's there. Nothing's there. She can't see it anymore. It's so funny.
What
But
else?
Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah.
Passion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Don't put me on this spot now. Lots of good ones.
All the good ones.
If you can think of a good one, it's probably him.
Yeah. Fair. I just knew I was gonna mix them up, and then all the theater people were gonna be
Come
like,
at you.
Boo!
You suck,
Boo!
school
How could
psych.
you confuse them, you idiot?
Yeah, you don't even deserve to teach middle school theater, you loser.
What a loser.
Yes, so Stephen Sondheim said they met early on in the process, and Sondheim said, "My whole catalog is yours."
Mm-hmm.
And after that happened, everybody else was
Incredible.
willing to work with.
Incredible.
Work with him.
Not only
Work
did
with
he
the graph.
hand over his catalog, but he makes a cameo in
Yep.
the movie, and he
So,
has lines.
The reason he makes that cameo is because he had a Stephen Sondheim like person in his script, and he's like, I'm just gonna try to find the person who looks the most like you
Sure.
and cast them,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's who my Stephen Sondheim is gonna be. And Sondheim was like listening to him talk, and he's like, you know what? To hell with it. I'll be in it. Just put me in it. I don't want anybody playing me. Just let me be in it.
God, I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know who would be a good Stephen Sondheim, and has played him a few times, I believe, is the dad in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
You say he's played him a few times. He played him one time in Tick, Tick, Boom, and he did great.
Yeah.
Yep.
What
The bad guy in Billy Madison, the dad and sister of the Traveling Pants, one of the guys in Cabin in the Woods, one of the bad guys.
Still haven't looked his name up.
Yep. He is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
And he does an amazing Sondheim in Tick,
I
Tick,
think
Boom.
he's done it once more than that.
You think so?
I
And
do.
what?
I don't know.
What was it?
Well, I don't know. I'm just throwing out speculations. I'm pretty sure he did it at some point.
That's a very typical Rach thing. She's going to will it to be true.
That's why you tune in.
But most of this casting was done in high school gymnasiums and auditoriums.
Mm-hmm.
And they went through some casting agents that the director was friends with, the director/creator.
Mm-hmm.
And he cast Daniel Letterly as Vlad.
Mm-hmm. So Vlad is our kind of one of the protagonists. He's
Yep.
the straight white male who kind of has like a
I don't even know if you'd say straight.
No, I'll continue. I'll go.
Yep.
Who has like a complex about like wanting to people please, and he kind of has like a little bit of hero thing, and ends up like partway through being like a real schmuck as far as
he's a
like,
womanizer.
Yes, well, and just that, but like also like he just. Are you counting?
I'm counting how many people we see him kiss.
Oh, sure.
Keep going.
I mean,
We see him kiss 5 girls, and then he almost kisses Michael.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, his sexuality is definitely a spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think he's the type who just like, I think he kind of says it too in an end of the movie monologue where he talks about just loving attention from people and like it doesn't matter. And he just wants
wanting
to make them,
people happy.
I want to make you happy. I want to give you what you want. So yeah, maybe I'll like kiss you, my roommate, who obviously has a crush on me and I've been flirting with this whole time. It's like, gosh, what mind games this character goes through. I was not a fan of Vlad.
You're not a fan of Vlad.
I'm not a fan of Vlad.
So this guy, Daniel Letterly, he was not originally cast as Vlad. It originally went to somebody else. Then Letterly comes back from Germany where he's doing West Side Story. I couldn't find what part he played, but I'm guessing it was Baby John. Because what else are you going to cast him in West Side Story in Germany? And the guy, and Graff, the director, gives the original Vlad the boot.
Oh.
And then he brings in Letterly. He's like, no, I want this guy instead. How
Interesting.
terrible would you feel if you were that original kid?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, and like you get the boot, like you don't even get to be in it at all.
I don't know.
I
It
didn't-
didn't. It said that he replaced him with Daniel Letterly. So I don't know.
guess.
But Letterly said he took the role and enjoyed acting because he liked making people like him.
Oh gosh.
He pretty much was Vlad.
I believe it. He was a terrible actor, but I believe in the sincerity with which he believed he was saying those lines and the performance that he gave. I think he felt good about it.
Now, is Vlad Russian?
Da.
Yeah?
Da.
Oh, okay.
Da,
I mean,
da.
he could be Scandinavian. I'm sure there's Vlads up there.
Or Ukrainian.
Or
Could
Eastern
be
European.
Vladimir.
Yep. Yep. But for me, I felt like there was maybe some underlying Russian propagandist kind of things that were happening in this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, with Vlad.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I think he signified Russia, who was seducing,
Yeah.
and trying to make all these Americans fall in love with Russia just so then he could be more well-liked and have more power. It's like Russia in the early 2000s and late 90s. When before we knew how bad they were again, we were like, oh, I think they're good now. Just throwing it out there. I think there are deeper themes if we really search for them. I might write a PhD doctoral thesis on this.
I'm on camp.
Anna Kendrick.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of her?
I maybe once,
Yeah.
twice, 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's just a little pipsqueak in this. How old is she? Did you say 13?
Oh, okay. So she's
got her hair. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's
I think she's 15 actually because
Okay.
she was on Broadway when she was 13,
Okay.
and I think this movie's 2 years after she gets off Broadway.
Okay.
I think. I could be wrong on that.
It's all right.
But anyways, she makes her film debut as, would you say you were talking about her hair?
I was just going to say her hair in
Yep.
this is just like she's got this like long hair and it's like so frizzy. It almost looks like a longer like Hermione Granger style hair in this. So I just love it. And she plays this kind of like the sidekick to like the mean popular girl, kind of like what Sharpay is based on,
Yep.
if you know that reference.
From High School Musical?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of the bratty blonde star. And she just like loves her and follows her around and gets like kind of bullied. And then like partway through, she's like, I've had enough. And
Well, she gets broke up with. Sharpay character is pretty much like, you're out of here because she's watching her underwear.
Yeah. Oh, that's what
Yep.
you mean broke up with.
Mhm.
Yeah. She kind of kicks her out of their bunk room. And and then she twists and gets real evil and like feeds the girl bleach, which is just crazy.
Yep.
And then she steals her role and she blows it out of the water.
Yeah.
Little 15-year-old sings the song Ladies Who Lunch from Company, which is so silly.
Another reason not to move. Another vodka stinger. I'll drink to that.
Oh.
That was the part of the show. I was like, is this show aware of itself? Does it know how funny it is and how silly it is to have like these children play like these
That part you
old-
could tell they did know.
Yeah.
Yep. Like that was a great moment. And so it's funny you mentioned her hair. Her name in this movie was Fritzy.
Oh,
So that like kind of
sure.
plays off with her hair.
I could see that.
And so her character is kind of a slave to that Sharpay character.
Sure.
But she's really supposed to be in love with her.
Oh, okay.
And Kendrick was very uncomfortable with that idea.
Hmm.
She did not want to play the weird girl who's in love with another girl. And so she makes her
yeah, weird lesbian.
She makes her
Ew.
film debut and she says, I do not want to play up the attraction that I had for Jill. I want to be the hot girl. I'm worried about what they were going to say to me after I got done with filming and had to go back to school.
Oh.
So she didn't want to play this like crazy demonic lesbian chick. She
Yeah.
wanted to be the hot girl. So that's why she kind of played it like she didn't play up that whole like obsessed with her thing. Even though she still kind of does.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't. I mean, I didn't think of it in a romantic sense, but yeah, I mean that I think just speaks to how old she is, right? I could see that. Like I can totally relate. I'll just throw it to myself. There was one time I was in a show. I don't know if you've heard of it, Les Miserables. This was in high school, and this was like my first play in high school. I was a sophomore. And I was a revolutionary and also a streetwalker. And
Yep.
you guys, our streetwalker outfits were so cool. We had like corsets and wigs. It was going to be super fun. And the director needed somebody to play the old woman in that scene. And she pulled me down and had me sing for it.
What's that one character? You're
Yes.
talking to Fontaine, right?
Yes. She like wants. She's the old hag who like comes out and is like, "Come here, my dear. Let me cut your hair. Here's some money." I'll be honest. I killed it, even as like a 14-year-old. No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to play that role. I'm more concerned about like looking cute. I want to be the hot girl. I want to be the hot streetwalker. So no, even though like that would actually give me lines in this Les Miserables, I would rather just not have lines.
So you could have the hot costume.
I can relate to the age mistake that Anna made at that point. I'm sure she looks back and regrets it.
Oh, she does. She says, I would love to play a evil lesbian gal now. Like, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I would love to play an old hag now. You know this.
Yeah.
I've always wanted
Every
to play that
time we talk
role.
about shows, Rach is like, oh, we talk about Glass Menagerie, and I'll be like, hey, you could do a monologue from Laura or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I just want to play Amanda. And
Well, not yet.
she always does this old mom, like, actress voice. She's always like, oh, look at that moon up there, Tom. Oh, it's got up there, Tom.
That's just my transatlantic. That's different.
Which is
No,
funny
but
'cause
yeah,
she's Southern.
there are, or like, in The Wedding Singer, there's like the grandma
yep.
role, right? And if you're doing it, at a community theater level where you don't have people around the age to do it, which would be a shame because it's so funny if it really is somebody around that age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm always like, yeah, I would like to play that role. That'd be so fun. Pop a wig on me, I'll do it. And Ty's like, I roll. You can't play that role.
You can't play that role.
I know, but whatever. Don't tell me I can't.
So the guy, Michael,
Mm-hmm.
he is in something else that you know of. Did you ever figure it out?
Nope. I
Okay.
never. You told me not to look it up.
I
I
did.
So Michael is the character who is, we'll call him non-binary. Also
Yep.
is the drag when he goes to
He's
his
Latino.
prom as in drag, and he gets beat up.
up.
And I'm just so interested in his story. And we don't really get a ton of it, but whatever.
So that guy's name is Robin de Jesus, or Robin de Jesus,
Uh-huh.
and he would play another Michael in a movie that just came out this past year.
Tick, tick, boom.
Yes.
That's where he's from.
Yes.
That's him?
That's him. Is this real
Oh,
life? The guy,
yeah.
the best friend.
He was great.
Yep.
Oh, I really loved him in that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I thought he looked familiar.
He was in The Heights too, like on Broadway.
sure.
Not the movie, but on
Yeah.
Broadway.
Mhm.
So, yep, he's a Broadway star.
Yeah, living life, taking names. All started here, probably for him at
Mhm.
camp.
So when Sondheim came on the set, he actually didn't want any preferential treatment. He said they were like offering to put him up in like a fancy hotel and everything, and he said, no, I just want to stay where everybody else is staying. And so they had him stay at the camp with everybody else.
Wait.
No, we'll get into it in
Wait,
just a
what?
second. Yep. He stayed at the camp with everybody else. And he says in reflection of his performance that he was god awful. And what's funny is I watched him like do his line deliveries and I was like, oh, I could see what he's talking about. And he's like, hey, I'm having a party in October. I'll call you. It's like just like right off the page. You know
I
what
mean, he's got two lines, but when you're that famous, when you're Stephen Sondheim, it's
Yeah.
like sir, whatever you want. No one cares.
Nobody's ever gonna give him like a
No.
direction or anything
Doesn't
either. Like, hey,
matter.
try that again, Steven. They're like, how'd you feel about it, Steven? Yeah, me too. It was fantastic. It's the
One
best thing I've
take,
ever
you
seen.
got it.
You're the greatest. See you later. So they filmed this bad boy in New York, and they filmed a lot of the scenes actually at Stage Door Manor, the camp. They had the kids stay on site in the camp setting, and so they would get really close and bond as a group.
Gosh, so they'd all hook up is what
No,
they mean.
listen to this.
Oh my gosh.
The kids were in the center of the camp at all those cabins, and then the adults were on the strong like periphery of the camp, like at the outside border, because the director literally wanted to give them space to get to know each other. Here's the one thing though. They had to hire child protection service people.
Yeah.
And they had to have them on set. And those people were in the center of the camp with the kids, but they were directed to be as unobtrusive as possible.
Oh my
unintrusive as possible.
Oh my gosh.
So
Whoa.
guarantee
Oh my
that
gosh.
it was hookup central
Yeah.
in this cast.
Yeah. Lots of teen pregnancies that summer.
They
Wow.
also put them up in, there were moments in time where they had to be put up in actual houses and stuff in New York. And they try to like cram them all into these like kind of expensive houses in upstate New York. And Anna Kendrick, they cleaned out a pantry. And they had her stay in a pantry. So that was like her little door was like this little pantry closet door. And because they didn't have hardly any money for this guy. I actually could not find a budget. This is one of the few movies I've not been able to find
There's
a budget.
no budget?
I found out how much it made,
Yeah.
but no budget.
So we
they
can't
said
say.
it was a shoestring budget, so whatever that means.
So
We know they paid $100,000 for music.
Okay, we know that.
And we can assume the kids all made like day rates, a very small amount. So I would guess this movie was probably for like 500,000, maybe 800,000
Yeah.
tops.
Under $1 million for sure.
Yeah, under $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Fascinating.
For filming this, they brought in musicians from a hot, popular musical. 2003 should help you. What do you think it was? The hottest of musicals.
Oh, the hottest of musicals.
Well, in 2003, it might not have been the hottest of musicals, but it was close to that moment.
Something rock
Yes.
inspired.
Uh-huh.
Spring Awakening was later.
That was later. That was like
Okay.
06 maybe?
What's another rock show from the 2000s?
Yeah, go earlier.
Early. Rock of Ages is
No,
early,
way
way later.
Yep.
That's not an oldie.
No,
That
definitely
might be
not.
an oldie.
Nope, I think that's like 2010-ish.
Oh, I'm good at getting worse.
Rent.
Oh, like the 90s. I was thinking 2000s.
Well, Rent came out in like 99.
That's not the same. That's a different century, Ty.
Yeah,
Come
I know.
on.
It was only 4 years previous, and I think it still was probably the biggest deal on Broadway.
Rent came out in 1999.
I think so.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, maybe, but that sounds crazy.
Does it?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I just thought it was like more of like a 90s.
Here, you look it up. I'll keep going.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, make sure we get this right.
This is important
Oh
to get
no,
right.
I'm nervous now. How is that coming?
Never better. Originally published in 96.
Okay, maybe it was 97.
So, yeah. That's all I can say.
Here's
about
what
that.
I'll say. There is an inordinate amount of guys from the Rent band, and then also just generically in this cast, who have soul patches. It's
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It's gross.
Was that a huge thing in like 2003, like the Soul Patch game? Because we just watched Sister of the Traveling Pants, which I'm pretty sure was 03 or 05 or something like. It was 03.
Mm-hmm.
Same year, back-to-back years or back-to-back films.
So
and I saw
unfortunate.
no soul patches.
Yeah. Don't understand. 96.
96.
1996 was on Broadway.
Oh, you know what?
You're not that. I mean, 3
Yeah.
years, but for me, 96 and 99 in my head were such different years in my development.
Yeah, I mean, that's like
it's like elementary
third or
to middle
fourth
school. It's like
grade.
not even. What are we talking
Yeah,
about here?
to 6th grade. Yep.
I'm not who I was.
You know, 99. I actually think Parade might have came out that year. So that's kind of bad that I messed that up. But
okay. That's okay.
That is okay. I won't apologize to anyone.
So Rent, the band for
Yep.
Rent was there.
The band for Rent.
Nice.
The opening sequence, what'd you think of that?
The first thing that I wrote down was,
First thing that you see.
whoa, arguably the best singer in the whole show is the first gal who sings.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what they were doing. They were singing outside. I kept thinking, is this rehearsal? Is this a show?
I think it was not anything real
Oh.
because Michael comes to them naked while he's getting his ass kicked.
He wasn't naked.
Yeah,
he
he
was in
was.
pants. He had pants on. His shirt was off, but he had long
But
pants.
it was supposed to signify his like vulnerability, like he's stripped down.
Oh, sure. Yes.
And the campers are welcoming him,
Uh-huh.
but he's doing like metaphysically while he's getting his ass kicked. It's in his mind. Remember he said like, "Where'd you go?" When he's like, "I didn't even feel it." And they're like, "Where'd you go?" And he's like, "I came here."
Oh.
That was that moment.
You're right. He does say that. So
Yeah.
he kind of has,
An
while that's
out-of-body
happening, his
experience.
out-of-body experiences, the best singer in the camp singing a song to him while everyone's in these like orange flame costumes and holding him. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I just thought like, wow, it's really unfortunate that we didn't have that gal sing the big showstop number from Dreamgirls, and instead we had a random white girl sing that song.
But I did think that was part of the joke, though. Because they
Was
just
it self-aware?
because they just talked about colorblind casting the scene before.
Yeah.
Because they had cast the black kids as Tevye and Tevye's best friend or whatever.
Fiddler on the Roof. It's colorblind casting. What do you want me to do?
Do we look like any Jews you know?
Yeah.
And then they were like, can't we do something that's like, so we can like,
Yeah,
we
for
can
us.
be ourselves. And then he had this idea, and then it cuts to a white girl singing Dreamgirls with the little brother playing opposite of her.
Yeah.
So it was self-aware. It was like making fun of colorblind casting.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
I wrote down self-aware question mark. Like, does it? Because if it knows what it was doing, then I think that's pretty funny. But if it didn't know, I also thought like it's 2003. Maybe it doesn't know that we don't do that.
Well, here's what I thought. I thought, okay, really funny, self-aware. Goes on way too long.
Oh,
it's
for
like
sure.
4 times longer
For
than it needs
sure.
to be. It should have been a 20-second clip, and we're sitting here watching her sing a whole 4-minute song.
That's That's
And
why I
that's-
didn't think it was funny.
That's why I
like,
think you started to think like, oh, they really cast a white girl in this role,
are we
rather
being
than
serious?
they're making a joke.
Yeah.
They held
joke
on
would
to it
have
too
been
long.
like song, 36 bars.
Mhm.
No, 16 bars.
And then to see the
cut.
little boy
And then
playing
see
her
the-
opposite, that's the
see
funniest
the
part.
5-year-old
5-year-old black boy who's like
Playing.
playing her, the
husband.
15-year or 16-year-old
boyfriend.
girl opposite.
Yeah. Hilarious. Cut. I
Yeah.
think it just needed a little bit of editing and a
The
little
whole
bit
movie
of
needed
reshooting.
editing. The whole movie needed a new script, needed to be re-edited. It needed a lot of work. Let's get into it a little bit later.
Yeah.
Let's save it. Let's put
Pause.
cork in it.
Okay.
So that opening scene though, you
Yeah.
you enjoyed the
Well,
the
I
singer?
just thought I was ready to feel like, oh, okay, I vocally wise, like
Mhm.
I'm in a safe place. Like she's a great vocalist.
Yeah.
I'm curious if we have anything about where she goes on to do.
She does some stuff, but
Mhm.
she doesn't like become like a huge star.
Yeah. Ugh.
She's one of them that actually does continue to do stuff professionally, though.
Does she?
There's a girl in the chorus,
Mhm.
she's also black,
Mhm.
who becomes one of the 3 urchins in my favorite cast of Little Shop of Horrors with Hunter Foster in 04.
Oh,
She becomes a huge deal. She's in a
Mhm.
bunch of things, but
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was just in the chorus. You barely saw her. So like every time I'd
In
see her, I'd be
this
like,
movie,
"You're
yeah.
gonna be a huge deal." And
Mark
then
my words.
there was another girl who was auditioning for Follies. And by the way, I'm 90% sure that's another Sondheim. And she's the tall, dark-haired one who
She's
sings.
the really good one out
Yep,
of the 3.
she becomes a Broadway star.
I could hear it a
Yep.
mile away.
Yeah, you can hear it on her final note. She's just
Oh,
got this
it's like,
beautiful little final
yep.
note. You're like, ooh, she's
Yep.
gonna be a big deal.
That's the note. She's got it,
Yep.
people. She's probably 17.
So that opening scene was done. They tried to film it at night. This is the end of the shoot. They're out of money. They like literally have $0 left.
Sure.
They're trying to get the shot, and then it starts to downpour.
Oh.
And they're like, shoot, what are we going to do? They needed it to be dark outside for the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So they all go underneath a tent, and they're hanging out there for hours. And the kids all start to like sing and pray for like the rain to stop because they really want that gal to get this showcase moment. They're worried that's going to get cut from. They're starting to talk about it getting cut.
Sure.
Because the rain wasn't letting up. The rain finally lets up like in the AM, like early morning.
Uh-huh.
And it's still dark though, and we gotta move. We gotta get this. The kids stayed up all night. But now it's just like my camp story about like how you go to bed and it's hot and you wake up in the middle of the night and it's freezing cold and you're freezing your balls off. Now it's super cold, and so you can see the breath coming off of them, but it was getting so obnoxious, like you could just see the kids. It looks like they're freezing to death out there. So they make them put ice cubes in their mouth, because I guess when you put ice cubes in your mouth, you won't have your breath show when you're outside in the cold.
Oh, the condensation doesn't. 'cause
Apparently.
your breath cools off before
'Cause it's
the air
already cold,
outside in
maybe?
your mouth.
Yeah.
Science.
Science. That's science for you.
Wow.
But you could still see it. I was watching. I was like, you can see their breath big time, actually. But
It didn't take away from me. I didn't.
Good.
I didn't focus on it or think about it because I
Cool.
was so focused on her vocally. But wow, sounds like we broke every child labor law with that one.
Protective Services was there. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, they gave the green light.
When they created this, when they went on set for filming, they did not know how far the boys were going to go.
What? Oh,
The script-
Michael and Vlad.
The script left it open-ended,
Uh-huh.
and the director, Graff, he wanted to see them go farther. He wanted to imply that the boys have sex.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to see them start making out, take their shirts off, and then they were going to like bring the lights down or like take it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be like the next morning that somebody would come and they would go for the swim or whatever.
Yeah.
And the kid, Letterly or whatever, who got cast as Vlad, said, "Nope, I don't want any of that.
Could see that.
I
See
don't
that
want
coming
to.
from a mile
I don't
away.
want to kiss him. I don't want to take his shirt off. He goes, I'm just not ready for it. He said now he would totally be down to do anything like that, but like at that point in time in his career, he was just such a scared little kid. He's like, I couldn't have done it. I was terrified.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'll say is I'm glad that they listened and they didn't force that
Yep.
from an intimacy standpoint. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But also then, all right, get out of the kitchen, Vlad. Let's
Yep.
grab the other guy back. Like he was willing.
Well, I think that would have been interesting because Vlad even mentions about how he's confused.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of takes it all back and goes, I don't know why I do this to everybody or whatever. And I was like, no, let him actually be confused.
Yeah.
I think that could be super interesting that he's like, I'm confused. I don't know. I just spent all summer making out with a bunch of chicks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've got something written down later on in the format that the creator goes into that I
Okay.
think is how he saw Vlad.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, I think that they kind of wussed out of having like a really cool moment.
Yeah. Yeah. They took an easy way out of that, I think.
To
For
just
sure.
keep it suggested.
Because that would have been very interesting. And not that it makes me enjoy Vlad's character anymore, but there is something to that does feel a little bit more real,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
You know?
No, I agree with you. Anna Kendrick
Yes.
had never seen Company. She had only heard the song when the original cast performer from Sondheim's Company, which is like back in the 70s,
Uh-huh.
performed at a benefit concert with her
Uh-huh.
and sang that song.
Oh,
So she
okay.
had seen
She
it,
saw it one
done by the
time.
original person.
Yep.
But she had never seen Company. She didn't know the context of it. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a song.
Yeah,
And so she just did all that stuff on her own.
I just looking at her, like she blew me away. Her age, like you could just like she just starts singing and like you
Yep.
can just feel it. The whole audience goes, "Oh shit!" And you can feel it. It's like that's right, Anna
Yep.
Kendrick. You're such a good singer.
Yeah. She's 16, by the way.
16.
She was
Who
13
sounds
when
like
she
that
did
at
this.
16. She sounds so mature. In
She
her
had only
voice.
heard the song 3 years prior when she was 13, but she's 16 now.
Well, and she looks like she's 14.
She
so,
does.
Like,
She
she's
looks young.
extra immature looking as well.
Yep.
But then she puts that wig on and like you see like this face.
This
it's
confidence.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that-
you're
she
like,
had
she's a
great
star.
Stage presence. I was like, oh, I get it now because I'll be honest, the blonde girl who she replaces
Uh-huh.
was atrocious.
Yeah, she was awful.
She was the worst thing in the whole movie. Like
She
not
was-
just like her performance on
Yep.
stage, she was not good, but she was not a good actress
Nope.
as her character.
She was horrible the entire
terrible.
time.
You're only a few pounds heavier than Ellen.
I think I know your sister, Cinderella.
That would be such an interesting role to play, and
Yep.
she just like she was the worst.
Yep.
She was the worst actress I've ever seen.
Lounging in their caftans and planning a brunch on their own behalf.
Ever?
Well, no, because I'm not even gonna call her an actress. Because to be honest, she's probably like a kid who just like got to do it. And what is she doing now? So like, I don't call. I'm not like an actress. I don't do that. I act. She's a person who acts sometimes. She's not an actress.
You're an actress, number one. Number two, I love watching Rach go after these young actresses.
I know. And then
She's
again,
like,
she's a
no,
child.
you know what? She's not even an actress.
She's bad.
She can piss off.
She was so bad, and I know she's a kid.
No,
but
it's okay. We can make fun of
We've seen
kids.
better kids than that.
Yeah, 100%.
I've worked with better kids than
100%.
that
Yep.
locally.
Yep.
Like there are better. Like it was just the role. Like I can't. How did her audition go? How did she get that role?
No idea.
I can't imagine
It
how
made
that
me
went.
think she was a producer's kid.
It had to be.
It
had to be.
I literally thought she's the creator's niece. She is a producer's kid. There's some relation here that is the reason she got that part.
Yeah.
Because there's no other reason. She wasn't a good dancer when they did the turkey one, the Christmas turkey song or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a horrible song.
Nope, her backup dancers were way
Way
better.
better.
And we heard the first one sing,
Yep.
one of the black chicks, and she was astounding.
Yep.
So like that again
And then the other
made me
one
mad.
is the chick who went on to be in
Who
Little
goes
Shop
on to
of
go
Horrors.
Broadway. So it's like, what are we even talking about here?
Yep.
Ugh,
Producer's
yeah.
kid. I'm telling you.
Her acting made me angry. Other people's acting just made me disappointed.
Yeah.
And like the adults were all terrible.
I'll say the
were-
adults made me mad.
They were probably the worst.
And okay,
They were worse than the kids.
here's the damn problem with this movie about musical theater is if it's a movie about theater and it's done low budget, so like yeah, I get it, you're not gonna get a bunch of big name stars. At least pull in a bunch of really good actors. Like you do this for a living. How did you not find a bunch of good actors? Even the kids, I can forgive some of the kids because sometimes you can make mistakes. We usually average one huge casting error every show we've ever done. We're gonna make
Guys,
one atrocious
there
error.
are too many Caitlins in the world.
Hey, be careful. What if the Caitlin's listen?
They're not.
Well,
But
and
there's
to be
a
fair,
lot.
some of the Caitlins were good.
Some were good, and some
Some
were
were
like,
not.
we're just not at the level of the other Caitlin. And how was I
Same
to
with
forget?
Rachel's.
I forgot
Yep.
the last initial. Anyways, it all worked out, but like it happened.
Yeah.
It's happened. I goofed.
Sometimes you make
I
a
goofed.
major goof. But what I'll say is the adults, to me, the casting of the adults was unexcusable. The playwright that they brought in was god awful.
He was terrible.
He was so bad. The soul patch man. He was atrocious.
Do you think they're all friends? Did you think he just pulled in
you know
his
what?
friends?
Honestly, I
and
did.
he couldn't say no to friends.
I do. I think
and
that
he wanted to do it cheap, and maybe cheap was like, "Hey, come do this free movie with me, but now you're my friend, and actually, you're not very good."
But he went through casting directors. So if you went through casting directors and you're gonna put all that effort in for the kids, then put the effort in for the adults too.
Yeah.
At least for like the main adults. I don't know. It was infuriatingly bad.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
Okay, so Camp is her first movie role, but Kendrick was on Broadway in 1998 at the age of 13. She was nommed for a Tony for Best Supporting Actress or Best Featured Actress in a musical called High Society. I watched like a little clip, and she's like dressed to the nines or whatever as this little kid, and there's like adults who are all pretending to be like high society, and they're all like laughing and singing these songs and cheersing with champagne and stuff, and she's right along with them dressed in her fancy little outfit, and she looks really funny and charming. And I watched the Tony Award where they like introduce her and they say like an Anna Kendrick or whatever, and she like has this cute little smile as a 13-year-old. She's adorable.
Yes.
She is adorable. When you watch this movie, you can pick out who's going to be the superstar in this cast.
Sure.
You know how sometimes when you watch a movie, you're like, how did this person become famous and not this person?
Yes.
In this movie, it's so clear, like Anna Kendrick's going to be a huge star and the rest of you guys can all piss off. Besides,
Michael's going to be a star.
Michael's going to be a
I thought
star.
He was pretty natural.
Some of your background gals are going to be awesome who are amazing singers when they got a featured spot. But a lot of you guys can piss off.
It's true. And in some ways, that's kind of reaffirming a little bit.
Sure.
Like, you know, the people who were good then are still good, and they got accolades or they had opportunities above and beyond this. Their talent was acknowledged. So I appreciated that, and it also made me feel like maybe I am a decent judge of talent. Maybe I go into being a casting agent, you know?
Yeah.
I honestly think I'd be pretty good at that.
I think you would be too.
Wait.
No,
What are you going to
but
say?
I think you don't care enough about theater or film.
That's true, too.
I think you always want to just have one foot in.
Yeah.
Like if I was going to give you your biggest performance critique, it's that you always keep the art form at bay.
Wait,
you always keep it.
What? How dare you?
You keep an arm out. You stiff arm the industry constantly.
I'll be honest, that's a little hurtful.
No, I don't mean it hurtful.
You mean in my performances, I don't give it my all and I keep it at bay?
No, I'm not talking about your performances. I'm talking about you whenever you're not performing and an opportunity possibly comes up, you stiff arm it.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about.
That could be.
Hey, Rach, the agencies want couples photos. They want to think about us as a couple. Oh, I don't want to do that. You better pick a good photo. Rach, why don't you submit for this agency with me? I just got in. You could say, like, my husband just got in. Here's my headshot and resume and everything. You're like, no, I would never do that. There's just always this little...
You know what it is.
Resistance.
Can I just like be vulnerable with you what it is?
That's what acting is
It's
all
the fear of rejection, Ty. It's the reason why I have a healthy sense of mental health is because I know enough about the business is that I keep it at arm's length because I know
Sure.
how heartbreaking it is and how that can affect someone's psyche. So yes, and self-worth. And I am just in too good of a healthy spot with my self-love that I do not want someone to be like, nope, 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 nope.
And I think it's probably also somewhat of a self-sacrifice because you're like, what does our world look like when we're both puddles? When we're both like, everybody hates us. Nobody casts us ever.
I'm also very protective of my time. I
Yep.
love time.
You love time.
I love time.
You love clocks, watches. You love time.
Emilio Estevez is a good actor. I love time.
Period.
Period.
Anna Kendrick, what was her next film?
After this,
Yep.
Pitch Perfect.
Nope. 2008.
2008.
You love this movie. I hate this movie.
I love it.
Yeah, you love it.
Last 5 years.
Nope.
She's good in that.
No, I hate it.
You hate Last 5 years?
No, I hate this movie.
Into the Woods.
Nope. You are like way later in her career. You're literally
can't
literally
think
within
of-
the past 5
I
years.
can't think of a
2008.
baby Kendrick. You keep saying that. Stop saying 2008.
2008.
Hey,
This is something I do when I
2008.
test Rach, and she hates it.
Yeah.
I'll just be like,
not-
Rach, 2008 folk musical. Rach, 2008 folk folk musical.
That's not a
2008.
That's not a new clue. That's not a new clue.
Riff tracks.
Oh, Twilight.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew you'd kick yourself.
Yes.
Yep. So she did the Twilight movies after this.
Yes, she did.
So she's gonna take like a 5-year break and not be in any movies. I don't think she did anything on Broadway at that time either. So
Sure.
she's just she's probably doing things, but nothing
Yeah.
huge.
Graduating from school, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Twilight's her
Finishing up.
next big thing.
Yeah.
And then she does the next year after Twilight. She is in an Oscar-nominated performance for Best Supporting Actress in Up in the Air.
Oh yeah.
You remember that movie?
I do remember
George
that movie.
Clooney?
George Clooney.
Airport.
Yes, I do. She's
Yep.
kind of like a not a protege, but kind of.
Yeah, kinda.
A
She
little
follows
bit. Like she
Clooney
kind
around
of
a
wants
little.
to be like him, but then like
Yep.
realizes that she wants nothing to be like him.
Yep.
I'll be honest. I said that, and it's been like 20 years since I saw that
But
movie.
I feel like that's how I remember it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. I don't think we give. I think Anna Kendrick's a little underrated.
Well, here, let me name off some of these movies, and you tell me what's her best
Okay.
ever.
Okay.
Pitch Perfect, 1, 2, and however many more there are.
Yep.
Trolls. All the Trolls movies.
Trolls.
No, not that one.
Oh.
Into
Not
the
Swedish
Woods.
Trolls.
No.
Oh.
50-50.
50-50. Oh,
With
she's
Joseph
in 50-50.
Gordon-Levitt. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Scott Pilgrim. What's your favorite? My favorite Scott Pilgrim.
I was gonna say she's so good. As
She's
Scott
so good
Pilgrim
as
his
the sister. Yeah.
Oh, I just think she's severely underrated.
She's
Like,
great.
we
She's a
think-
great actress.
I think we only think about her in her movie roles and think, yeah, Anna Kendrick, she only plays like one role every now and then, but we forget about the Broadway aspect of it and
I didn't
all
even mention
that.
last 5 years.
Or A Simple Favor. It was her and Blake Lively came out.
Oh, okay.
Like within the last
Oh,
5 years.
yeah.
Mhm.
That was a weird one, right?
Yeah, it's a little trippy.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, I think she's pretty consistent.
Okay.
I think so.
Now, I'm not going to make you name them. So don't like get stressed out about what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Where does she rank for you? Top 5, top 10, top 20, top 50
As far as
actresses?
Um.
Just say it.
Yeah, I
but
would
don't
say
stress about
I'll
it.
give a percent because percents are easier.
Oh, okay.
Than
like top whatever percent?
Yeah, I would say she's just so talented. I
Yep.
think. I don't know if I want to say acting specifically because there's a nuance there too that I don't know if she has all of that, but she's
Okay.
just so multifaceted.
So go ahead and
talented.
answer the question.
All right, I'm just helping myself bide time. I would say she's probably in top half for sure.
Top 50%.
Top half for sure. I'll go top 30
She's in your
as far as
top
talent.
30%?
30%
Okay.
talented. Not top 30 actresses of all time.
Yeah.
But
Would you
top
be willing to
30%.
put her in your top 100 actresses of all time?
Not actress.
No.
No, not yet.
Okay. Top 200.
Wait, but does that make sense? How many actresses are there? This math isn't computing.
That's why I told you don't start to actually think
Oh,
of
it's
names.
so
Just
hard.
tell me, would you do it?
Maybe.
Okay. She
Maybe
might
I
be
would.
top 100.
Possibly.
Is she top 200? Just go
Yes,
with it, gut
yes,
feeling.
Yes, definitely top 200. Maybe top 100, but
Okay.
I have to think of 100 actresses.
I wonder if she's offended that you can't definitively put her in your
I
top
just
100.
I can't think of how many actresses there are in the world. That's the tricky part.
Okay. I'm going to name two. You're going to go
You're gonna name 100
No,
actresses.
no. You're going to have her go head to head against 3 actresses of my choosing.
Oh God, I hate this.
Are you ready?
No.
Okay. Anna Kendrick versus Blake Lively. Go. Just go with it.
Anna Kendrick,
Okay. Anna Kendrick versus Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts,
Anna Kendrick versus Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson.
Okay, there you go.
Top. What? What did you deduce?
That's all I needed to know. Okay. I feel good. Hey, by the way, you know who she's dating now?
Oh, go ahead.
Uh-oh, did they break up?
You say your news first.
I just found this out just a few days ago.
Go ahead.
She's dating
Mm-hmm.
Bill Hader.
They broke up.
When did they break up?
Yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
I
I
know.
seriously did this research a week ago.
I know. Within the last week, they've broken up, and they were together for at least a
Yeah,
year.
yeah. I think it was for a couple years.
Yeah.
They're a cute couple. I saw all the pictures of them too.
Mm-hmm.
She dated like some just weird Joe Schmo guy before that, but like and they dated for a long time. And she like kept him a secret from the Hollywood for like 3
Oh,
years.
yeah.
And they were together for like 6 years, but then her and Bill Hader dated after that for I think
Yeah.
a couple years. Do we know why? Irreconcilable differences?
Probably. I don't know any deets.
Oh, okay.
Just know they broke up. Oh, sad. I
Bummer.
wonder what the age difference is there. I feel like there's a little bit.
Yeah,
Or is
a
Bill
little
Hader
bit.
younger than we think he is?
I think Anna Kendrick's maybe older than we think she is too. Anna
Oh.
Kendrick's older than we are.
Yeah, but like I'm not gonna date Bill Hader.
Anna Kendrick's probably only like a year or two older than us too.
Yeah, and Bill Hader's like what, maybe
48.
48? Yeah, so we're talking
And she's
about
probably 38.
yeah,
37.
Okay, yeah. It's not a crazy gap, but it's like a 10-year, like a
Sure.
7 to 10 year gap.
Maybe
like,
Bill
oh,
Hader's not 48. Maybe Bill Hader's like 42. And maybe she's like 36.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he's younger than we think he is.
Yeah, it might be. Don't look it up,
Okay.
but go ahead.
Okay.
The entire film was shot in, do you want to guess how many days? How many days would it take to film this?
5 days.
Nope. A little bit more than that.
1 month.
18 days.
A half a month.
Not surprising in the least. The film was released. It was a summer movie, summer blockbuster with all the special effects.
A summer blockbuster that I never heard about. The summer that
July 25th, 2003.
I did Les Mis around this time. I got indoctrinated into musical theater culture this year.
This was right after Les Mis, a couple months later. You were going from sophomore to junior year, and I know for a fact you were into Baseball Boys. That's why you never heard about this movie. You were too into the Baseball Boys.
I was watching baseball games.
You were watching Summer Catch at night, and then you were watching your boyfriends play baseball during the day. That's your life. That's what you were doing this summer. That's why you didn't see this.
Bill Hader was 44.
Oh, okay. How old's Anna Kendrick?
Oh, I didn't look that up too.
Okay, go ahead and look it up.
At any rate, he's younger than we think he is.
Okay,
And so
yep.
that's not that weird.
So this movie opened at number 46 in the box office.
Out of 50?
I don't know. And it never got higher than
Wait.
32.
In the box office,
So
there are
it-
that many movies?
It came out in theaters.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The same week, though, this was really stole steam from it. Because the same week it came out, the movie that took over the top spot, it got released the same exact week as this movie, was Spy Kids 3 Game Over.
Oh, I love that one.
As I mentioned before, the movie cost dollars to make. Question mark, millions of dollars.
We said under $1 million, probably.
Yeah, probably under $1 million. Probably, I would guess 800,000, maybe 750. And it made 1.6 million at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Just a reminder, earlier this season we did Top Gun. It came out 15 years before this, and it made over 300 million. Just to kind of put this in perspective. 1.6 to over 300 million.
Mm-hmm. You should feel really good about spending $4 on this film because honestly, it hasn't really made up its money yet.
Well,
Or has it?
It's a cult.
So now it's made its
classic.
money up?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
But it's a cult classic.
Sure.
This
sure.
is not a movie
You said
that didn't
cult
find a
classic,
following.
but it's like a musical. It's a very niche
Yeah.
cult classic.
And so here's the thing too, is it's not for like the kids who do musical theater now haven't probably never heard of this movie. Like the undergrads at Mankato right now, they don't know this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the millennial musical theater kids, I think a lot of them know this movie.
Sure. Okay.
So at Iowa State, you didn't always party with those kids, but when you did, they were singing Rent. They probably also were watching Camp
Camp.
during the day. So just a heads up.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, that's what they were up to. And you were not invited.
I was not invited.
They're like, get out of here.
1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah,
Protect
stiff
myself.
arming.
Gotta protect myself from the rejection.
Stiff arming the industry, like you do. Here are the taglines: a comedy about drama.
A comedy about drama.
You can't fit in when you already stand out
Oh,
above the crowd. Rotten Tomatoes score. Do you want to take a guess?
It should be under 50.
Higher.
No, it's high.
Do you think it's fresh or rotten?
I think it's rotten.
Wrong. It's fresh.
Why?
64%.
Oh, just barely.
Audience score? Higher.
Yeah.
68%.
Oh, not that much higher.
Yeah, but still, both fresh.
I guess. Oh, okay. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Continue.
Okay, here's what Rotten Tomatoes says. Campy comedy that squeaks by on its charms. Here's 2 reviews. I like the first one. Another of those summer movies that want to pluck at our heartstrings. If it would just stop plucking for a second, it might be enjoyable. San Francisco Chronicle.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what our very own Star Trib said. The Star
Oh.
Tribune in Minneapolis.
Local.
You'll have trouble keeping your toes from tapping.
Oh, Trib, you're better than
Weak,
that. Come on. What is that? What
boo.
is that?
You suck. You suck.
Toes
Okay.
from tapping.
I've got some random trivia and things, but I want to take a little time out, and I want to ask you a question.
Mhm.
Tell us a random audition story.
Oh, a random audition story?
And if you need time to think,
I might.
I can go a different track for a while and come back to you.
Do you have a random audition story you want to share?
I mean, yeah, I have some doozies.
You do.
I mean, I have the one, and it reminded me of one of the counselors here at this terrible audition. In fact, I'm going to call it out right now. This terrible
No names.
terrible audition. I'm just going to name the institution.
Okay.
For the University of Houston.
Okay.
For a horrible individual who runs their program.
Okay, now you got too specific. Now people can Google it.
Well, there's probably a few people. But there is a person. He is extremely abusive.
Mm-hmm.
In the room, he asks you to name like your deepest, darkest fears, the worst things that have ever happened to you. And he like kept being a dick to me the entire time. He had me do about 12 different monologues. And then every time he kept telling me to like make them actual personal people that I would be talking to. And he was just an asshole the entire time. And I remember we stayed so I could audition for this institution because I was kind of interested in their program. Walked out of there thinking like, that was the most bullshit audition I've ever had. They can go F themselves. I want nothing to do with them ever. I'm going to make sure that everybody that I come into contact with knows how abusive their theater head is and that you should never go to that program.
Yeah.
And I continue to spread that word here on the podcast.
Snap.
Yeah, it was just awful. It's just, you don't conduct yourself that way. But I've had other things happen. At Iowa, I had somebody push me up against a wall, and he's like, "Don't you smile at me." And I was like, "I'm about to sock you in the face, bro." So I've had abusive stuff happen at Iowa. Your buddy, I won't name him on the pod, talked about how at East 15 school in London, the person he was auditioning with, he was doing his monologue, and the guy goes, "Hey, get down on your knees." And he's like, okay. And he gets down on his knees. He's like, come over here by the bed. And he thinks this is getting really freaking weird, right? And like this is getting into creepy, crazy territory.
Cringy.
But instead, what he does is he plants himself. He like comes over the top of his shoulders, and then he tells him to stand up. And so he stands up like they're doing a pool fight, and he's on top of his shoulders. Like a chicken fight. And he's sitting on his shoulders while he's performing his monologue.
Oh my God.
And
what?
that was, so he said that's the craziest thing that's ever happened to him.
That's
So,
incredible.
Yep.
Well, now you told that story. What am I going to say? What story could I possibly say
Well, just
that
like when something went wrong.
it's going to stop the
Tell
chicken
us
the
tell us a
chicken
story
fight?
about when something went wrong.
I've never had a wrong audition. They've always gone right. I just didn't get cast. It's not my fault. Oh, I was so engaged in your story that I know you were buying
You
me
didn't think
time.
about it?
No, I was thinking, but I just didn't. Nothing like came to mind that was like that interesting, of a story. I mean, I'll tell you, we in a little bit of a tangent again, one foot in, one foot out. In jazz choir, we were auditioning for a solo, but she had to sing it as a duet
Yep.
with the other gal. So two gals at a time were singing a solo, and it's just like it just messed me up, and I couldn't sing it. And it was a solo that I think the choir teacher had kind of been like, oh, yeah, this is going to be really good for your voice. Like, she was kind of like, it was my senior year. She was kind of going to like, yeah, this is going to be we'll get you in here. You'll get this solo. And I must have just botched it because I did not get that solo. I did not get it. That's okay. It was How High the Moon would have been that song, that jazz standard. Do you know that one?
No.
Somewhere there's music, how faint the tune.
Hey,
Somewhere there's
why don't you take this
heaven.
moment to do the solo?
How high the moon. That's
You
okay.
earned it. You earned
I
it.
felt good about it.
Rach, what's your biggest pet peeve with young actors? And especially if you saw one of those pet peeves in this movie.
God, these are such great questions.
I thought about telling you them beforehand so you could think about them, but then I thought, no, I'll spring them on you.
Well, you thought wrong. You should have given me time to
You want me to give you one of mine?
Sure.
Okay. So one of my pet peeves I have that we saw a lot in this
You
movie.
say young actors specifically?
Yeah, especially young actors do this.
Okay.
It's when they're trying to communicate that they really feel something when they're singing a song in musical theater. What they do is they clench their fists
Yes.
and they
Obviously.
sing in a way like they're going Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z. Like they're powering up. And so they like have these fists clenched and they've got their arms cocked in like L's. And that to them is like this position that makes them feel like they're really feeling it because their fists are so tight.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I think like, no, just like loosen up. If you're gonna belt, like do something with your hands. Don't just clench your fists and power up like a Super Saiyan. It's not doing anything for you.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they see on YouTube. Like they see, you know, the interesting thing though about a clenched fist is I don't think that does a lot for you from a vocal technique.
No, not at all.
I get the idea of like, so like a vocal technique, like you spread your hands out and then like you move the sound a little
parallel
bit.
gestures. You do parallel gestures. They're like breathing in and out with you.
Yeah.
And all these fun things.
Yeah, that definitely. I could see that. Honestly, for me, it's almost like in social situations. And it's not necessarily young theater people, but theater in general. And again, this is mostly me because I have the audacity as a person who is 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the theater world to show up to theater parties and expect us to not talk about theater the whole time. And that doesn't always happen. In fact, that seldom happens. And so I guess, again, it's more maybe on me. But I think a part of it, the part that irks me a little bit is that we'll like name drop directors and actors and shows and they're not ones that the general public like myself know or can speak to. And so I feel very lost in those conversations sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes people try to give me the benefit, like I know, like, oh yeah, you know, like so-and-so, nope, don't know. Like there were some references in this at the very beginning of camp that I looked at you and I was like, what? Who is that?
Well, there are people
Who?
they mentioned that I didn't know.
Yeah, so again, it's a little bit like I had the audacity. I showed up to theater camp thinking that we were going to talk just about theater and camp, but that's all we talked about.
Well, let's
so
be honest.
Shame on me.
If you show up to theater camp, you're just like Vlad.
I'm Vlad?
Yeah, because you are an outsider. You're not a theater kid. You come in, you're super hot, everybody, and then you just start kissing everybody. Everybody falls in love with you. I'll be honest, I actually think that you would be just like Vlad.
Do you want to know who I am just like in this?
Who?
I'm Julie.
Which one's Julie?
Julie's Vlad's girlfriend who shows up at the end to see his show, and she comes into the dressing room, and everyone's like, you have a girlfriend, Vlad? You've been making out with us the whole summer. And I'm poor Julie who shows up and is nice, but she came to break up with Vlad because she knows on the inside that Vlad just needs some space and is not that into her. And it's kind of a schmuck for showing up to camp and be like, I don't know, just wanted to make out with people while I had a girlfriend. I'm Julie.
What's so funny is I actually thought Julie was pretty cute. I was like,
super
out of all the girls in this show, like Julie's easily the cutest.
Yeah, it's Anna Kendrick and then it's Julie.
Yo, 100%. 100%.
Who are you in this?
I don't think I'm in this movie.
You weren't represented.
I think I was the sports counselor who was shooting basketball by himself.
That was a funny bit. Again, like I wanted the movie to play up more of the humor. I know it. I guess it didn't. It's hard because it wanted to be serious, and I got that because it dealt with some serious subject matter. But there was also a part of me that was like just dying for the silliness of Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
You know, like I was dying for like the theater married couple.
Oh my gosh.
The Bradley Cooper and the Amy Poehler show up.
Can we talk about Wet Hot American Summer for a second?
Yes.
If you haven't seen Wet Hot American Summer, strong recommendation. You've got to see it. So in that movie, in the last scene, they're talking about this drama camp or whatever, and they're like, they're the worst. These kids are awful. They're talking shit about them the entire movie. They get up there and they start doing Day by Day, and they're pretty good. And the kids are like, oh, I hate the theater kids. They're all he's the worst or whatever. They're making fun of him the whole time. And then they all start getting into it, and they start like snapping and clapping along, and they're like, woo, this is so good. And then they hit the last part of Day by Day in this number, and then all of a sudden the campers turn on them. And they just go, boo, you suck, after they were totally into it. And it's so funny. I love it.
It's
I
so funny.
love it.
I know that's not this story, but it also felt like there were times that this wanted to have the story, like when it made fun of colorblind casting and
Yep.
when it made fun of the sports counselor, like
Yep.
who like chucks the ball at the kid, here, heads up, and it like
hits
hits
him,
him.
and he goes, ow.
Yeah, so like they had moments, but I guess it didn't want to get like farcey with it, but I think I was dying for a little farce.
Yeah.
I was dying for just like a
Yep.
little extra silliness.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And instead of our silliness was, geez, Vlad has kissed so many girls. This is in almost a boy. This is crazy. So speaking of Vlad kissing girls and boys, so here's what the director says about, is Vlad gay, bi, or what?
Yeah.
And you kind of talked about this already. You said, you want to restate your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm just going off of what Vlad says at the end.
Yep.
Vlad talks about loving attention and wanting to please people and give them what they want.
When I was 8 years old, I asked my father to send me to acting class. And you know what he said? You're not even the prettiest one in your class.
I think you're very pretty.
Yeah, I guess.
So what,
and he's
what does
confused.
Vlad want? So is he confused?
I don't know. He says he's confused.
Yeah. I thought he was genuinely confused too. Here's what the director says. Speaking as Vlad, he goes, I'm gay, but I can't be gay yet. So I'll manipulate every girl around because the girls at the camp are girls that, generally speaking, don't ever get dates 10 months out of the year. So here, if any boy pays attention to them, they're very easy. It was that thing of working through your own sexuality by manipulating people around you. So that's what he says is going on with Vlad.
Well, he wrote it. He should know. Honestly, like this, it sounds so autobiographical.
I think part of it was.
I think even though I think Vlad was terribly acted, I thought Vlad was a real person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's kind of based off of his own experiences, the counselors.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yep.
I can see real people in these actors, and some of them did a great job of making them real.
Yeah.
And having just that naturalness. But some of them were not able to do that. In fact, I would say 98% of the cast could not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Vlad, though, he thought he was going to be a huge star.
Of course he did.
After this movie, he thought, I'm going to be a huge deal, and he really didn't do anything afterwards. He got into drugs for a while, and he was like, oh, man, this sucks. I never broke in. This was supposed to be my thing. They've been trying to raise money since the mid-2010s, and they have like a sequel that's in conception. Now, I saw something that came out recently that said Ben Platt, was associated with some camp theater movie.
Okay.
But I couldn't find confirmation if it's the same thing as this. So I know they're working on a sequel. There's some theater camp movie with Ben Platt that's coming out. It's probably going to be awful. But I don't know if they're related or not. That information was unknown to me.
Maybe it's like Camp Rock.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
Maybe they did. I've never saw that. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. But speaking of Camp Rock, a similar show that was the creator of this show said that they got all their inspiration pretty much from camp.
Oh,
They're like,
really?
This inspired this entire TV show.
But with Disney.
Nope. Glee.
Oh.
Glee pretty much was an extension of this movie, according to the creators.
I remember watching this at one point and thinking, Glee does this better. I did. I thought that. I mean,
Yeah.
Granted, like Glee is probably using kids. I'm going to put air quotes on kids because I think most
No,
of them
none of
are
them were
like.
kids.
But I think that's why it's also so much like it's just a higher production value.
Yeah, what I'll say is go back and watch some episodes of Glee. The acting is atrocious.
So mad.
The acting is not good in Glee. A couple people are good.
Sure.
But in general, the acting is atrocious in Glee.
Okay.
The voices are awesome, but the acting is poor.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about the voices and the performances.
Yeah.
I think
yep.
that's what when I was watching the performances, the stage performances, I thought Glee does better than this.
Well, and the production values. Like Glee actually looks like a show that was shot in the 21st century. This looks like an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark
well,
from the mid-90s.
and they're not that far away from each other year-wise.
No, not really at all.
So,
like 5 years.
Again, different budgets.
Yep.
But you gotta tell me that's the best you can do.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, geez, that's like you got a Sony Handycam? Like that's what you're going to operate with? Jeez.
Ooh, vicious.
Yeah, for sure. So Anna Kendrick says people have either never heard of this movie or say it's one of the most important movies of their life.
Oh.
She gets that all the time.
Yeah.
Where people come up to her and are like, this is the most important movie that I've ever seen in my entire life.
I get that from the representation standpoint.
Yeah,
I
I
get
can
why
too.
this would be very, very powerful for people who have never seen themselves
Mhm.
ever represented, or maybe only seen themselves as a stereotype. So I could see why this would feel really good. It doesn't make it better, but I understand why this would be something that would stick with you and be very pivotal.
Mm-hmm. Rach, best camp movies of all time. I'm going to list a couple of them. You already mentioned Wet Hot American Summer.
Ah, so good.
Ernest Saves Camp.
Nope.
Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2.
Never seen.
Heavyweights.
Oh,
all
love
the Friday
it.
the 13th movies.
Negative.
So, do you have any camp movies you'd like to bring up? Or what's the one with not the Olsen twins, but with Lindsay Lohan and she's twice.
Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
Yes.
That counts as a camp movie, I bet.
Love Parent Trap. Great little camp
what's that movie
section.
with Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Chevy Chase, and he hits his tire with an arrow, and he dresses like a Native American, which is very offensive now.
Very offensive.
Man of the House?
Man of the House, yes.
Okay,
Man
that's
of the
also
House,
a camp
with
movie.
Farrah Fawcett as the mom.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Any favorite camp movies?
I mean, you listed off some great ones. Love me some Heavyweights. Love Wet Hot American Summer. I can't even say the name without laughing. It's so good.
Yep.
It's so good.
If you've never seen Heavyweights, you should definitely watch Heavyweights too. Heavyweights is so fun. Ben Stiller in the performance of a lifetime. He is spectacular. You won't believe, if you've never seen it, you won't believe how funny he is.
Yeah, and honestly, it holds up too. It's not like something that you watched when you were 10 and you're like, ha ha, fart jokes, this is great. I mean, there are probably some still in there, but it is, like you said, I think it holds up. It really holds up.
Absolutely.
We bought it on DVD a couple years ago.
It was so good that we hadn't seen it since we were kids. We watched it randomly, like probably, 7 years ago, and it was so good that Rach goes, we need to own this movie. So we bought it within the next year. So two strong recs for Heavyweights and Wet Hot. You've got to see those two. They're both so good.
Yeah, love it.
Rach, what are some of your favorite things about this movie? Do you have a list of favorites?
I made a list of things because I didn't want to garbage all over it. I didn't want to yuck other yums, but there are some things that I did like. So yeah, the stuff with Anna Kendrick, like her performance was just like, jaw dropping, so great.
100%.
Loved how great she sounded. I liked there was a birthday scene for Michael. Michael is our trans, or maybe not trans, but our non-binary camper, and it's his birthday, and like they say, hey, it's your birthday over the intercom.
And you can tell Vlad got it together. Like Vlad was the planner of this birthday.
And so like he goes out, and then so the backstory is that he got Michael was beat up at his prom because he was wearing a dress, and he wasn't allowed to go in because he didn't follow the dress code. And so everybody at camp had like a drag prom for him for his birthday. And so that was really, really fun to see. I love that. I thought that was really cute.
Yep.
It makes me want to redo this movie. Is that is
no,
that crazy? Like I want to do it, but I want to do some of it better.
Yeah, 100%. And okay, you had Sondheim's whole catalog. Do more Sondheim songs too. Like you had this great catalog.
What the heck is Turkey Jerky? Like or Turkey Lurkey? Like that? You can't tell me that that's a famous
From Promises,
song.
Promises.
It was awful.
Yep, it's
I've never heard
Neil
the song
Simon
before.
was a part of that. I don't
I'm
know if he
sorry.
wrote the book or if he
But
wrote
that was heinous.
other stuff. It's a stupid show, and I've seen some other songs from it. It's a stupid show, a stupid song choice. I don't know what you were thinking going with that, especially when you had Sondheim's whole catalog. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Incredible.
Yep.
There's a moment where Michael and Vlad are talking about, there's just some dialogue between them about being different and what that's like. And Michael's telling Vlad, like, you don't understand. And then Vlad kind of goes on to this tangent about how he has OCD, and he started talking about, like he counts numbers and names. And honestly...
I know people who do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I would make my students
not cool, 'cause that sounds
do
awful,
like
but...
a personal... They had to have a private moment. And I didn't have to be personal. I was like, it's not therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's just pick something that makes you unique. It could be anything. It could be like how you paint your toenails. Like it doesn't have to be deep. And one girl got up there and she started writing things on the board, and then she started assigning numbers to them and adding all the numbers up and everything. She's like, this is how my mind works. Just like how Vlad explained it.
Yeah. So that to me, like, that's real. I didn't think it was put on. And honestly, the dialogue there, I was listening to it. I thought that's pretty good. So I liked that scene. I thought that was kind of interesting, and it was kind of a moment for them to kind of bond. And I also like, too, that Vlad was kind of like pushing back. And maybe this wasn't yet, but at some point, their friendship, like, he kind of pushes back on Michael when Michael's like, no, I slept with a girl. I wanted you to feel more comfortable. He's like, why? I don't care. Like, or like, it's just like, I think you're gay. Like, but at any rate. So I like that. And then, of course, like, my mouth was on the floor when Stephen Sondheim rolled up. It's like, there's no way. There's no way.
So there's a couple moments we didn't mention with Anna Kendrick that I just want to get out there that I just loved.
Okay.
I loved when she's holding this glass and the glass shatters while she's singing, and she looks at it like she's surprised, like, oh my gosh, it just shattered this glass. It was awesome. And then she goes, rise, rise, rise.
At the end of the
And
song,
she starts pointing to people, like to sections of the audience, and then there's like one kid in the audience who's like, is she talking to me? And then he starts to kind of like he's gonna stand
up.
but then everybody else isn't standing, so he kind of sits down, and then she does it again, and he's like, I've got to stand. And so he stands, and then the rest of the audience follows suit, and like sheep, they're just like, yep, we are under the magical spell of this girl, we'll do whatever she tells us to. It was so funny.
I laughed out loud at that.
Oh.
That was great.
I like some of the mentionings of like certain shows, like they are doing Buried Child and Wit, which if you don't know what those are, that's fine. But they're way mature content for high school kids to be doing at theater camp.
Yeah.
Like Buried Child is so weird. I love that show, but it's so freaking weird.
Yeah.
And Wit is like an old lady who's going through cancer, is like on her deathbed with a bunch of older doctors around her. A couple young people in that cast, by the way, all older.
Yeah.
So
nothing
that stuff
kids
was
should be
funny.
doing at summer camp.
Yep. And really, Follies, you could say the same thing because I think that's all an older cast too.
Sure.
So there are things, there are theater jokes, inside theater jokes that if you're a theater kid, you'll think are funny. But I almost feel like throw some bones to some of the folks who are just like on the periphery of theater that would make them laugh too about theater.
Yeah.
Because those are out there. Like we all know Sweeney Todd, or we all know Phantom of the Opera. Like throw a couple of those jokes in there too.
Yeah.
So your basic audience gets that it's theater
There's
stuff
some
too.
easier jokes. And at the same time, I think maybe why people love this so much is because it's the first time that
It's like their club, their secret club.
their secret niche club that's like really, really into theater gets it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yep.
not, I don't think it's for general public.
Yeah.
Even though I think it would benefit, movie would have made more money had it been for the general public.
Yep. I feel like it was made for the Gen X and then millennial theater kid. That's like the target audience.
Yeah, if Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is for girls in high school between the years of 2003
to
2005,
Yep.
then this is even smaller than that.
Yeah, always a smaller crowd for sure.
For sure.
Yep. What did you think was some of the most cringy stuff in this movie? Or have you hit a lot of your stuff?
Honestly, I mean, we talked about the colorblind piece, and I was like not quite sure if it knew what it was doing, and it did, so that made me feel a little bit better. Honestly, the acting was so bad. The stuff with like Vlad and what he would say and do, like the romance trying to build between him and other characters was just like, oh my god, come on.
Did you get more and more surprised every person that he like his intentions went towards?
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's just like a new level of shock. Like, oh my gosh, what's he doing now? Oh my gosh, he's doing that now?
Yeah. Like he would just like, they would be mid-conversation. He would just like kiss somebody random. You're like, what are you doing? I thought you were dating this other girl. Now, I don't know. Again, could definitely be a real person, but man, it was something to behold.
Here's what I'll say. I know a couple of Vlads.
Yes,
I do.
I know you do.
I do. I
know.
won't say them on the air because I love them dearly, but I know them.
Yeah.
They're out there.
And it's just as cringy.
And I'll be honest, they're actually my friends. So like, I'm like, oh, shoot.
It's all right.
I have
It's
some Vlads
all
as
right.
buddies.
If it was maybe written or acted better, that would have helped it be a little
Sure.
less cringy. Like, I didn't get that he was confused so much as that I got that he maybe was confused with the script, or it was just, he was trying to be charming, but it never came off charming.
Yeah.
Almost never came off charming.
Yep.
It came off very eye-rolly to me.
Yep. And by the way, I think I said he got into drugs. I think I'm thinking of a different actor.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I
Can we
want to
clear the air?
renege that. Take that out of there.
Okay. Good.
He maybe did, but I don't think so. You know what I thought was cringy was how adults talked to kids.
Oh, yes. There was a moment with Anna Kendrick and the playwright or the
Uh-huh.
musical writer, and he's talking to her, and the dialogue would
Does he
not
call her a
sug-
sadistic little bitch or something like that?
I mean, he said you're a scary little girl, is what he says. But while he's saying it, like
I
he
think
kind
he
of
calls her the B word at one point.
Oh, did he?
Or calls her the S word. He either calls her a little shit or the B word.
Oh, could be.
One of the two.
Well, I knew you'd be discussing stopping the show, and I just thought how disappointed all the kids would be.
You scheming little bitch.
Honestly, it wasn't even. I mean, that's not great, but the fact that the way that he was playing it, it almost. I thought he was coming on to her a little bit.
Oh,
like,
really?
It made me feel weird in that sense.
Oh,
like,
you're talking about when they're out on the
on the porch. They're
porch
sitting
and they're
there, and he
talking?
like kind of
Yeah.
keeps crossing and uncrossing his legs.
He's
And he kinda,
uncomfortable the whole time.
I know, and then he like scoots closer to her. I'm just like, this feels wrong. Like,
His
this
acting
is-
in that scene,
Yeah.
like, I don't even blame the writing on that. It was all his acting.
Yeah.
His acting was so horrible in that scene that he came across uncomfortable, like he's going to poop his pants. And then it felt like he was coming on to her because
Yeah.
he was so squirmy and
Yeah.
so weird. Like he was uncomfortable saying
I
the
remember
words.
looking at you like, tell me he's not gonna like make a pass. Tell me he's not. This
Like a
is-
Rodney Dangerfield, Ladybugs moment.
Yeah, like please say we're not going that route, please. And then it didn't, and I was like, okay, but did you guys realize how weird that was? Like,
Yeah.
did anyone watch that in the editing room and be like, huh? Gary, let's reshoot that. You look a bit like a pedophile. Can we try that again?
No, because that was his buddy. I guarantee you that was his buddy. So he's like, I can't reshoot it.
Yeah.
I can't tell him it was horrible. And then he needs to shave that soul patch so bad.
That's the problem.
But there were other moments too, like people just were like mean to the kids sometimes, and mean to the kids
Yeah.
in a way that was almost unforgivable. That I was like, I don't care that you're trying to push them, like this whole like I'm gonna push you. Like no, you're just being a dick to be a dick. Like
Was some of that like kind of farcy though? Like at the beginning when
Maybe.
he's yelling at them, is like, "Tell me your deepest, darkest secret." He's like, "Why would I do that
Yeah.
to two strangers? So you can do it to 3,000." And it's like, who is this? You know, like
Maybe.
were they trying to make fun of directors?
you
like
know,
that?
maybe they were, but I couldn't help. They didn't do a good enough job because for me, like with the colorblind thing for you, I felt like they hung on to it too long, so it didn't become a joke. It now became this awkward moment.
Yeah, yeah. It just didn't know between like if it was gonna make fun of it or if it was like reality. And again, like it's making fun of something that's real, but like let's play up that that's supposed to be funny.
What did you do as a high school actor that you wish you could go back and change, like a cringy technique thing or like acting deal? We saw a lot of it during this movie, so I think it's fair to approach.
Gosh, where to begin? Where to begin? I wish my range was different. That would have been cool.
Like singing range, like you sing higher, or
yeah,
lower?
or just stronger, or
Uh-huh.
I wish my mix was stronger when I was I wish I wouldn't try to belt everything.
Yeah,
I think I
Yep,
didn't
me
learn
too.
that until later on in life, that a strong mix can sound just as good, and yep, you can hit it, but sometimes you have to know when not to hit
Well,
it.
I've talked to vocal instructors though. A mix develops over time.
Sure.
Like it's actually
That's a good
a
point.
thing that develops with age.
Mhm.
And so I give the undergrads shit for like belting everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll hear them do their mix and I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh,
Like
it's hard.
I get why
It's
you're
hard.
belting now because your mix is terrible.
But
And that
yeah,
just takes
it's a
that just
muscle.
takes time.
Mhm.
It takes time.
Yeah.
And then they always give me shit for mixing everything. I'm like, when you can do it, baby, you don't have to belt anymore. You can save yourself.
when you're on this side of it. Acting wise too, I still struggle with this, but I didn't have great projection.
Yeah.
And I like to
You are so much better about that.
I am now, but you're asking what I regret about
Sure.
what I would tell my younger self as an actor. I would work on that, and I would work on my commitment to certain choices. I think
Yeah.
I would just make more choices and make them more strongly instead of like being in my head about it and what it looks like. Like just
Yeah.
try it. You'll feel it if it doesn't feel right. Someone will tell you.
Yep. I used to like feel like I didn't know what to do with my hands.
Oh my gosh.
And it took a
that's
long
such
time
big
for me to
thing.
just to feel like, who cares what your hands are doing?
Mm-hmm.
I've had directors that are like dictatorial about that. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, you got to do all this stuff with your hands. And I'm like, no, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do whatever feels natural because that's what human beings do with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking to you, I might use them. I might not. They might just stay at my sides because that's what human beings do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stopped worrying about that. I think
Yeah.
it helped a lot.
Yeah, I think as a younger, and even now, still I think I get stuck sometimes in blocking, or I feel like, oh, I'm just standing here, or like, oh, I need to move, and it all makes sense. But you just have to move with purpose and just be more confident and make choices and try it. But I think when I was younger, I think I would freeze up a little bit unless I was told to move somewhere to do something. I preferred directors who would like spoon feed it to me versus having to do it myself. And now I kind of like a mix of that.
Yeah.
I like some direction, like give me the playground, tell me where things are at. Tell me that you want me over here by this line because that makes sense for whoever else is coming in.
But you get to decide how you'll get there.
But let me play a little bit on the in-between.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. There was something else I was going to say. We'll cut this later. And that's our opener.
Oh, awesome.
I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you. Gracious.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I got a little something. So the gal, the blonde chick who we both said is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She gets fed bleach in her cocktail, and so she starts throwing up on stage.
Yep.
Do you have any stories that like rung true for that you're like, oh yeah?
Oh, I do. Okay. Well, not that I drank bleach.
No, not that.
But that I got sick. Yes.
Yeah,
so
the puking on stage.
I was out at the Black Hills Playhouse, and I was in a production of Urinetown. And I got sick during Tech Week. Like, I had a tick bite. It ended up being so sick, I lost, get this. You already know this, but listeners, get this. I lost over 20 pounds in 1 month's time, in 4 weeks. And I was sick for about 3 weeks of it, and then kind of a week of recovery. And then I was pretty much fine and on the mend after that. But I got so sick during this Urinetown that I tried to perform for our preview for an audience, and I'd run off stage like during the middle of numbers or right after a number, and I had a trash can on both sides of the stage, and I just puke into it, just puke incessantly, and then run to the bathroom when I had to go number twosie, and it was just like this constant mess of a sickness. And then the second night, on opening night, I made it to intermission. And I'm in the bathroom just puking my guts out at intermission after doing this song and dance again of puking off stage constantly. And the director comes back and he says, "You're not going on." And I was like, "No, I can do it. I want to finish the show. I want to finish opening night." And he goes, I remember this. He goes, "Ty, don't be a hero. You're not going on." I was like, dang it.
Oh, she would have gotten slapped in the process. How cool.
Don't be a hero.
That's it. That's what I wanted. Let's rewrite that memory right
Yeah,
now.
rewrite it.
Core memory unlocked.
Oh my gosh, so good. But yeah, do you have any? Ever got sick?
Yeah, I've been sick a couple times.
Have you ever gotten sick during a performance?
No, fortunately, I
Never even a cold?
I had almost like an anxiety attack like before a performance at high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was the performance?
God.
Oh yeah, tell everyone. Yes, I know what it is.
Okay, so
It was a different time.
It was, but it wasn't that long ago. So in high school, I was in a musical. It was my senior year. It was a big role. I played Aida in Aida.
It was a different time.
I played Aida.
I was in
Aida.
Once on This Island twice.
I know.
So,
different times.
yeah, different times.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was our opening night or if it was before. I think it was opening night. And what we had, I think, no, it wasn't even that. It was, we had rehearsal. And then that night I also had a spring show for Dance Squad. And I was so physically exhausted between the two that like I remember like being at rehearsal and being like mid-song, and I just like couldn't catch my breath because I was thinking like I have to start getting ready for the spring show. That's like in an hour. Like I am so tired. I'm like, you know how I get when I get hangry, like I get jittery. And so like just like went backstage and like had a good cry, and then someone grabbed me a Mountain Dew and a PB&J, and I was like, I feel better. Thank you. So I just needed food.
Which is
maybe it wasn't an anxiety. Maybe I was just hangry.
Which is so funny because when Rachel's little ones get all mad and all upset,
at school,
and you give them some Cheez-Its in a juice box, you say they're always the same. They're always like, "Oh, thank you, I feel better."
I feel so much better. It's honestly like the best secret weapon for dealing with dysregulated anybody. Adults, kids, we're not trying to like.
Maybe you just need a Snickers.
Maybe just need a little snack. Just eat a little snack. You'll feel better. Let's talk.
So, Rach.
Yeah.
that's all I have.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you'd like to visit?
I mean, I don't know that we'll ever get back to the theme of camp. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But
Sure.
do you have any camp memories or
Yeah,
things like
I
that? Or
remember-
a good or bad?
Yeah, I remember in Cub Scout camp when I was in 3rd grade, and we put up our tent and we went to the opening ceremony. And then when I came back, my Batman underwear, I think I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, my Batman underwear, somebody had taken them and they had rubbed dirt all over them. And then they put them on a stump in the middle of the campsite to display, making it look like I had pooped my pants. And then one of the kids was like, "Whose underwear are these? Somebody pooped their pants." This is the first day of camp. And it was only a 3-day camp, but I still was like, those are my underwear. And I did not poop my pants. And somebody bullied me at camp.
Wow. That, if that was in a movie, we would make fun of that. Because we would say, like, there's no way, that's not real. But that is real.
That happened.
And I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Hey, it's okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, for sure. I think the rest of the camp went great. I was really good at archery. I remember one of the camps anyway. Terrible at BB guns, hitting the targets, but awesome at archery.
Are you?
So that's what I remember about camp.
Oh, good.
Don't know if I'm good at it anymore, but what about you? You have camp memories?
I have some positive ones. So I was in Girl Scouts, and there were some summers I remember going to Girl Scout camp. It would only be like 2 or 3 nights, so not very long either. Sometimes my friends were there, and sometimes they weren't. And the one that I remember the most is when they weren't there, and just how that felt, and being, I don't know if I would say shy, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what kind of a kid I was. I think in that situation I was a bit more quiet, and I wasn't really quick to like introduce myself or to like get to know people. So that first night was kind of hard. Just like, and we were all, it wasn't like I was like left out. Like we were all in one big room together with like sleeping bag, like in a lodge style. So there wasn't like there was like bunk beds or things like that, or I was left out in that sense. But I just remember being really lonely one year during that. Yeah. And I would talk with kids every now and then, but I also remember thinking like, I'm by myself a lot. And a part of me was kind of okay with that too. There was like, I don't know. Even as an adult now, I think to myself, like, I'm okay being alone sometimes.
But you won't go to a restaurant by yourself.
Well, yeah.
What's that about?
That's the challenge. I did just go to a movie by myself.
Yeah, you
though,
did.
for the
Your first
time.
movie by yourself.
I saw Elvis. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I got all the pop and popcorn to myself. I didn't have Ty being snarky and dissing Elvis the whole time I was watching it, so I appreciated that.
Sure. Yep.
So yeah, it was good. No, I think about that lonely little girl at Girl Scout camp, and I think like so much has changed and yet so much has not changed. I'm still the person who would come into like a big group like that, a big room where you didn't know anybody, and I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't be a super chatty Cathy. I might sit at a table and make convo at some point, but I wouldn't go out of my way to like make a bunch of new friends.
Sure.
I don't know if that's bad or good. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Rach.
Yeah.
Any other things, or should we get to our scores?
I feel good. I
Okay.
feel like we're ready to talk some
Sweet.
shop.
Yeah.
Okay, so you told me that this was fresh, like 64 and 68?
63% and 65%?
Okay, so just barely.
Yeah, or something like that. Yep.
Okay. I'm coming out swinging.
64 and 68.
Okay.
You were right.
Okay,
you pretty
okay.
much nailed it.
All right. My review. What's worse? The idea that this movie feels deeply autobiographical, or that this is a supposed musical theater cult classic? The acting is heinous by all but 2 actors. The fact that poor Stephen Sondheim was pulled into it leaves one shaken to their core. 15%.
Wow.
15%. I came out swinging on this.
Yes, and what's it around?
This is below Halloween 3.
Oh, yeah, it is. And what's it above?
Ladybugs.
Okay.
It's right in that sweet spot.
We are very close.
Are we?
I think I've already mentioned this. The acting is way too atrocious for it to be a theater kid movie. That is just unexplainable, unacceptable.
Kids, you know better.
Yeah, come on.
You
Be
can
better
see
than
good
this.
acting. That.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No way.
Take elements of the story, leave the rest. Agree with you. 2 great performances by Jesus and by Anna.
Yeah.
And my Rachel Meter rating very similar to yours. I guess tiometer. 13%.
Wow.
Under Jingle All the Way.
Yep.
And
me too.
above Ladybugs.
We're the same in that regard.
Yeah, it's just less offensive than Ladybugs.
Yeah, and Jingle All the Way was a really fun time. Like, let's not pretend like we
Yeah.
weren't laughing a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
That had some really classic moments.
Yeah, Jingle All the Way entertained me at
Hometown
times.
fave.
Yep. Mhm. Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I would say, like I said, like I would like to remake this. I would like to, just redo it somehow. There are stories here that are so interesting and that I'm really, I can get why people like it. I get why the theater community is into it, but it's the acting and some of the writing is so unforgivable that I just think like we are better than this.
Yeah.
We're better than this.
Mhm.
But we're not better than baby Anna Kendrick smashing that glass.
So good. Superstar.
Just Google
Awakening of a
Just
Superstar.
Google that song. I'm sure
Or
you can
just
find it
Google
somewhere.
Anna Kendrick Camp and watch all her stuff. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, love it.
Well, Rach,
Yes.
what's coming up?
Oh my, wouldn't you like to know? I had it mixed up in my head. I was thinking really quickly, what is coming up? It's got kind of a funky name. All right. So, next week we are gonna dive into our Diane Keaton catalog.
Okay, the Diane Keaton-a-thon begins.
It begins. Get ready. If you're not a fan, you will be. We are gonna watch the movie Something's Got to Give.
Something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Is that how you want to end it?
No, you go ahead and end it.
No, yeah.
Something's got to give.